Business loans for bad credit, instant approval up to 10,000 same day, even up to 2 million within an hour, usually within a business day, or it could be 2 to 3 plus days depending on the file. And if it's not good, it could take more time. And this we'll start with the one up to 10,000 same day instant approval. And this one without any credit requirements. You don't have to have 450 minimum, 500, 550. This one credit is less to no requirement. And so what I'd like to say first is in the traditional sense, a business loan with bad credit doesn't exist. You're applying a bank term loan, SBA loan type of scenario with bad credit, walking into a bank and expecting to get a loan and it doesn't work. That's the case. Banks won't lend on bad credit usually. And you see the A tier banks and other types of banks you may be associated with or thinking of and trying to find a bad credit business loan or line of credit. I have a bad credit business line of credit. So if you stick with me, I'll be going over those details and I'll leave more down below in the description. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please voice it in the comments. You can also look in the description on how to get a hold of me and let me know. Have you been declined for funding? Are you in a startup phase, non-startup phase? What are you exactly trying to do and how to use and source your funds? So I'm going to be switching tabs over in a second to go over the details of this bad credit instant approval up to 10,000 same day funding option that is not from a bank or in the traditional conventional way to getting funding that is through banks and these types of ways. That's why you have alternative lenders, funders who are out there in the market to help those who can't get approved from the bank or can and just can't wait or for whatever other reason that is. One thing I'd like to mention before I go into any of that, I made this post here on LinkedIn. I'd like to go over. It says business architect. First and foremost, as someone who's been in business now 13 plus years, I've seen it all. In my own businesses, I have multiple, and as an entrepreneur, I've created products. I deal analyze, strategize, I structure businesses, forming businesses from the bottom up, entities, why it should be this way, coordinating things, strategizing, having the right roadmap, foundation, metrics, marketing and advertising, sales. I'm not a salesperson, but I know sales, copywriting, understanding the usage of words in the written, voiced, audio format, different ways, and making sure you have the right website structure, funnel structure, email marketing, CRM, front end, middle, back end, everything put together, systems, processes, the right amount of automation, fixing, growing, scaling businesses, looking at financials. And I'm the quiet, analytical, cerebral, more brainy, back end business silent partner type. So I don't talk much. I do. You hear me here. And I'm not, I just want to give you value, even if video is not what I like much. And I've grown so much over many years and helping so many people that nowadays I tend to gear towards lesser volume. I've been doing it for years now and just more quality, quality of not just business, but people and being energy and time efficient. So opening that circle up for someone takes a lot for me to do because I know a lot of the times people are just tire kicking and they're being energy and time inefficient, excuse me. So if that's not you, great. If it is, I'm not saying I won't work with you, but causing that friction and resistance and turning this cycling to this and disappearing, I'm not for that. And if there's someone else and you have a different standard, you want to work with someone else, do that. I have a high standard. I'm very kind and nice as a person. I'm simple. I'm not materialistic. I'm a family man. I love to fish. And so I put this post. Most businesses don't fail because they can't get funding. They fail because of this. They raise money before fixing structure. Hi, family. As a business architect, meaning I design how businesses are structured, funded, and scaled. I go about what I do quietly. And I said some of that right there earlier. What I see consistently and constantly is no clear use of funds, no capital sequencing, weak margins masked by revenue, debt stacked on top of confusion, growth before systems. Funding doesn't fix that. It amplifies it usually 100 times more than just 10, 20x. It's what will expose that business. The businesses that actually scale do this first. They clarify the business model, how money really moves, fixed structure, entity, operations, margins, pricing, and there's more. Map capital precisely and properly, debt versus equity versus cash flow, and more. Build systems before growth. Then they bring money in intentionally and accurately. Funding is your output, not the strategy. What's been the biggest blocker for you, capital access or business structure? Let me know down below in the comments, or if you'd like to reach out to me privately and I can help you, check out in the description how you can do that. So back to this, there's a funding option here. We're going to start off with, again, the up to 10,000. I have other options with funders, lending with lenders and FDIC banks, SBA loan, equipment loans, real estate. I have it all full stack. And even MCA debt restructuring, if you need to consolidate, refinance, settlement using collateral for it or by other means, and you need help and resources, I can do that and help supply that. I've been doing this again for a while, going on now many years and full 13 plus years doing this. I've seen honestly all. And just being a listener and asking the right questions, being in your shoes, I think you would like someone who has been through business, not just a rep. And I mean that kindly and nicely. No, nothing against them or shade. It's if they know business more than just funding. Great. Have they built something? Do they plan to? Because you need somebody, and I believe you need somebody who precisely understands business, not just funding, who knows the processes, knows the back end, knows what to look at and review, analyze, in everything of a business and more, and have a stronger future roadmap than just what you have presently. Economics, the markets, and different things like crypto, bonds, mutual funds. I help people with those too, and so much more. I have experience with all of this and more. I'm not just saying it, I actually practice what I preach, helping people with property, Section 8 housing, fix and flips, rentals, commercial properties, restaurants, retail, manufacturing, construction, the list goes on and on. And a lot of the times I tend to know the business better than the individual. And a lot of other times the person knows the business better than I do, and that should be the case. But other times it's because just the lack of funding funding fundamentals, structure business fundamentals, collapses that happen in the business before and after funding, during funding, and a lot of other things. So I'm just here to help and give you the best that I can. Okay. So for self-employed, 1099, gig worker, contractor funding, and being able to use a personal or business account is possible. Same day funding up to 10,000. Approval amounts are between 25 to 75% of the monthly revenue and the approvals. And a lot of the times you're looking at the lowest monthly revenue. You also average out, are those numbers too large in between? Are they not? The lowest amount. And that's playing it safer and seeing how low their revenue has gone so we don't lend somebody or they don't lend somebody, excuse me, so much money that they cannot pay it back. Because that's what banks, that's what funders are doing is they're issuing based on their downside. It's not equity. I do both, debt and equity. I know both sides very well. I connect project owners to investors. I know a lot of things that happen in this industry and in private equity and debt, hedge funds, and so much more. So I can give you a lot of understanding, build business plans, proposals, helping lead big projects, multi-million, billion-dollar projects, making sure the numbers are right, the structure coordinating this distribution, margins look like this, and this is what it will look like at this phase, moving cash flow like this, in different situations. So right here, you see just a simple example, plus or minus 10,000. So 14,000 monthly revenue, that is 10,000 advance if you're looking at 75% plus. Of course, it can be lower depending on the situation too. So if you're looking at it from a 10,000 point of view, precisely at 25% being low, 2,500 to 7,500 maximum plus or minus 7,500 plus to 7,500, so 2,500 to 7,500. And Average pricing is 1.39x your dollar amount. It can be low as 1.2 and as high as 1.69, but I can see a 1.50 because the risk with these files are so high. And with this type of funding, it's more of an automated underwriting with less labor in underwriting because it's automated. And you would have to do bank linking, and I'll get to that in a moment, and it's very safe and secure. And so when the revenue is better, there's a difference. Example, you get 1,000, you pay back 1,390 on average. Example, number two, you receive 10,000 and pay back 13,900 on a 1.39 rate. It's that simple. It's not we add amortized interest, although you can look at these in APR and then factor the interest in. And I'm not going to get into all that right now on how to do it. And I can help you with more, but it's not all about the rate. It's about your ROI you have to pay attention to, and that exceeding the cost, the benefit exceeding the cost, and making sure you can sustain that or for how long, how much in additional net margin are you trying to gross, net profit margin, how much in additional net free cash flow. There's these different variances and factors you got to look at. If it's just used as working capital to sustain and you have to use it, but it can be expensive money. So these are to be used usually for growth and expansion. Repayment discounts are available if you pay back early, automatic weekly payments only, no monthly options with any funders. And because a lot of times a big payment at the end of the month, relative to this type of funding being low compared to if you're doing more than, if you're doing at least a minimum of 15,000 or 15,000 and more, or more than 15,000 is like, yeah, that could look like a lot more cost of funds and total you're paying back. But with this is regardless, a monthly payment, you can exhaust other payments, or you might not have other payments, or you do that you have to pay first. So when you pay that funder, it's like they're the last one, or they're not, or you didn't have anything left over and it's a larger payment. When you have weekly and or daily, you can track them better. All the times it's not best. I understand that if you're a better position for monthly payments and you can, then you can. And there are options out there with good credit. So whether you have good credit or bad credit, this can apply or other funding sources too. Bank term loans, 640, 660, 680 type of credit, SBA loan, 640, 660, 680-ish type of credit. And so there are those too. And here you see renewals are 16 weeks, which is 4 months. So you can see a 3 to 6 month term with these, and more so for clients at a 3,000 plus minimum revenue level. Personal checking account can be used for business. You can also have a business checking account, which is awesome. Online banking is set up. No FICO score check. California, Oregon, and New York usually get denied per laws. Can't fund there with the service right now, so it won't work for these states. Bank linking with Plaid. It's a very reputable company. A lot of other companies use. About 5% of the banks out there, major banks, don't even connect with Plaid. So you may have to check with them or be sure, or sometimes you have to go directly to Plaid if that's the case. If it's not like that, then it's not that. So it's very reputable to make sure and understanding your statements when you're linking, and make sure to have your information ready. Some banks can't, haven't teamed up with Plaid and just don't work. Qualifications, 3,000 in monthly revenue sales and 3,000 plus on your lowest month in the last 90 days. Very important, minimum 3,000, no exception. 4 months time in business, minimum non-sufficient funds, negative days, no more than 5 NSFs, negative days in any of the last 3 months. Current loan consideration, if you have a current capital advance, the amount still owed will be taken into consideration and cause a reduction in the approval amount. 4+ deposits is always best per month, but we are willing to see if 3+ more or less if the deposits that are in there make sense. So I just go into a little bit more detail there, potentially on the availability of the amount, depending on this and that. But just to cover this, you see that now. And then I have another one over here. If you do more in revenue, 15,000 minimum, and over 15,000, when you're under that, it makes it harder. There are lesser funders, higher risk profile. When you start getting into the 15,000 and above, there's more of the manual underwriting process and that. And even before I go here, let me come back to this. Is when you go through this, you're going to go through a sequence to answer some questions, and then you'll be routed into the next part, and you'll be able to see what to do there and getting a soft approval if there is any. And then after that, being able to link your banking to, for this being an automatic sequence, it's safe and secure. Got people go through this. And from there's an approval. Then you can say, okay, if I want this, accept, then contracts form sent to your email. And then once upon signature, you're done there. Then after that, there's a hard uh, approval. So it's a hard pull at that point. So what happens is, yes, there's no the credit check thing in the beginning, but because this is high risk, they need to see more of what's going on. If they don't have the full picture, well, how do we know you can make your payments back effectively? How do we know there's nothing else going on? So that's the hard pull is usually there at that point after contract signed and everything good to go. And there's fund final underwriting and all that. So just so you know that the other funders, when you're not doing that low end revenue, a lot of the times they won't do a hard pull. So like what I'm getting into right now, when you're doing at least a minimum of 15,000 and above, a lot of the times they won't do a hard pull. It's a soft pull. So instead of there being a hard credit inquiry, like the other one over here, which is hard credit inquiry, over here, usually there's no hard credit unless it's asked for and something has to be looked at. So over here, 500, 550 plus type credit is best, 450, but 550 is usually it. And you're doing 15,000 plus per month in the last 3 months, 4 months, depending on the state. So you'll need at least 6 plus months because 4 months. So this one could go up to 6 months here, usually 6 months. And so 6 plus months time in business preferred with 4 months or 3 months, depending on the state, of bank statements, copy of driver's license, and a voided check. A lot of times that's needed. If you're asking for more, over 100,000, over 150,000, a lot of times a tax return, P&L, and or more would be asked for. So I just go into here, current loan consideration, and a few more details of what this is. So now let me go over here. There's also other options like a personal term loan and or business credit cards used for business. The personal term loan used for business and business credit cards with business credit card stacking, but you have to have better credit, 700 plus or 680 plus. And if you had a credit partner with better credit and they own at least 10% or so of the business, 10% plus, then they can come in and help get business credit cards for the business. If they don't, then they can't. And if they're not any part of the business and they try to help you with a personal term loan, that may work. Some may not look at that as a yes, others will look at that. And so just wanted you to know that. So if you had a credit partner, somebody that can assist you and help you personally guarantee that, and you didn't get as much as you wanted over here, or for whatever other reason, there's also cash out refinances, 401k, IRA, rollover account. There's so much more that I can give you and share with you, but I hope this gave you enough information to understand. I want to show you here, I have my Instagram profile. If you ever need to get in contact with me, I'll try to leave that in the description. I sometimes do a live spontaneously and frequently been to ask me questions. I would in the past have a topic. I may come back to that again and go over that credit, cash flow, collateral, liquidity, equity, real estate, and more. And most recently, though, it's an open room for you to ask. And I'll go off that. And I help a lot of people. You have returning people, new people that I see. And as much as I don't like being on video, I'm here to help and give value in other ways that people wouldn't have and they wouldn't have at all. And not falling in love with the aesthetically pleasing stuff and the person who talks a lot because that's not me and that benefits you. And roles reversed, I wish I would have somebody like that who would have been or would be there in that way, helping. And it's not about saying more, it's about doing more and just showing up. And know that I do care about you when I get to know more about you. And my circle of people will tell you that I know them. And as people and in business, it's more than just business, it's people. And if that's someone and something that you align with and you get behind the person with the purpose, the vision, the mission, the values, characteristic traits, governing principles, and high standards, and you want someone in your corner who will be there to help, I'm that person. Here is my Facebook group that I have to help people. Here's my link tree from Instagram. You can access that. Here's my link tree. And there's more resources you can pick up. I usually have people fill out a form on my site. These documents that I showed you, I can share with you in time. So if I email you, I'll likely send them to you in an email with other links so you can have ready to go, and my link tree too. And I also have the cash flow mastery system workbook that I created that will help you critically think about your cash flow better and manage it better and so much more. There's a lot here. I'm not going to touch so much up on it right now, but it's a product that I created that is not just for putting numbers on a spreadsheet on a software and seeing what that is. It's critically thinking before and asking yourself the questions and building one phase and one module after the next that I have. I even have a course format for this, and you can access all this. I'll link you to this down below in the description. And if it's not there directly, you can look at also my website that I'll have listed, and under the services page, scroll down for the Cash Flow Mastery System workbook. Pick that up, and I know you'll enjoy it. And you'll ask yourself, why has there never been anything else out there like this? This is what should be in every business owner's, real estate owner's hands. And I wish I had something like this when I was going through all of this, and there isn't anything else out there like this in the market. And what I put together with all my experience, my underwriting mindset, and CFO type mind, and other roles that I've seen a lot, I've been through a lot myself. I've been through the ups and downs a lot. I know what that takes to get out of when you go back in it, and when you build the muscle up here, the endurance, and so much more. So that's all from me. I hope you got a lot of value from this video and you understand that there are business loans for bad credit, but it's not business loans technically. It's funding with merchant cash advances, revenue-backed funding. And I have other options and other services out there if you have better credit and or you're using a credit partner, you have good credit, you're going through revenue-based funding, fast funding because you needed it for some new technology that's rolling out and you need to have extra cash on hand to be able to pay vendors and suppliers so you can't wait and you'll lose a partnership or relationship you've had with somebody for a while or just getting started and you can't wait for the bank loan to come through or something's happening, there's something with subsidies, things that were removed, credits, tax credits. I can go on and on and on, but I've seen it. It depends on the uses of funds and what situation you're in. So I hope you got a lot of value from this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with others if you would like, and they can get value from this. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so, and click the bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I'll be coming out with. That is all. Thank you.